Hello, welcome. I'm Joe, and today we'll be making a sewing clip caddy. This is great for storing all your sewing bits and bobs. These are the pieces. The link to the pattern will be placed in the description. I'm using vinyl for the exterior and denim for the interior, and two pieces of Velcro so that our handle will be removable. So I'm going to work on the handle first. So I'm going to put all the other pieces away. We're going to take the two pieces for the handle, place them wrong sides together, and then we're going to clip, or you can use some wonder tape to hold them together, and then take it to your sewing machine and sew around the perimeter. Okay, and now we're going to adhere our Velcro. So I'm separating my Velcro. They're about 3/4 inches, and I'm going to stitch them on either ends of my handle. The other two pieces will be placed on the sides of our container, our sewing clip caddy. So this is what your handle should look like. Never mind my sewing, I did use the correct thread on the underside. Make sure you match your thread to your fabric so that it looks neat and professional. Now we have 8 side pieces cut out from vinyl. I'm going to place them right sides together and sew on the edge as I'm showing here. So these are my first two pieces that I'm sewing together. I'm using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Make sure to backstitch at the beginning and the end of your seam. So this is my first two, and this is what we have. Now we're going to continue and sew the other pieces placing them right sides together as you go along. Okay, here are my side panels, all 8 of them sewn together. Now we're going to finish up and sew the last 2 edges to create a circle. I'm now attaching the other 2 pieces of Velcro to the exterior section. Make sure that you place the Velcro opposite each other, because that is where you'll be attaching your handle if you choose to add the handle. This is optional. You don't need to add a handle if you don't want to. If you're receiving value from this tutorial so far, please hit the thumbs up button. That will help my channel a great deal. So now we're moving on to put together the lining pieces the same way we did the exterior. Again, we have 8 pieces, and I've sewn them together mostly, and I'm doing the final one here, and then we're going to close it up the same way we did the exterior final pieces. Now we're going to pin and sew the lining base and sides together. So you'll pin it around and then take it to your sewing machine and if you use a 1/4" seam allowance on your exterior piece, you will use a 1/2 inch or 3/8 of an inch seam allowance to do your lining. This way the lining will be a bit smaller than your exterior piece. That way it will fit better inside of your exterior piece without having too much bunching and bulking. Also, if you prefer, you can add stabilizer to your lining or your exterior if you want your sewing clips caddy to be a bit more sturdy. I did not use any interfacing because I'm using denim and vinyl, and I don't want to put too much pressure on my sewing machine, so I made mine without interfacing. But you have the option to add your interfacing if you so desire. Now that you've finished sewing the lining, you will trim your seam allowance and set aside. Let's work on the exterior again. Let's now repeat those steps for the exterior pieces. We're going to sew the base on to the sides, and we will be using a 1/4" seam allowance. So hopefully you use a larger seam allowance for your lining piece, like I suggested before. So I'm pinning everything nicely, making sure we match it up the edges, and we have a nice round shape at the base. And then we're going to take this to the sewing machine and sew it up together. The exterior side and bottom are now adhered. Turn right side out and poke out your seams. You can use clips to pin the seams for a little bit so it can take shape. This is what it should look like. Now we're going to place our lining inside of our exterior piece. The lining should be wrong sides out. That means they should be wrong sides together. Now we'll take this to our sewing machine and sew around the top edge. You can use a long stitch length in this area because this is just to hold the lining and the exterior pieces together temporarily until we are ready to add our binding. Now you can trim the top if necessary, and we're going to add the bias tape. So place your bias tape around the edge and use your clips to hold it in place. Then after pinning, you will take this to your sewing machine. If you can remove the table from your sewing machine. As you can see, mine is removed, and so that you can place the sewing caddy around the part there where you can sew, make it easier for you to sew. I hope you understand what I'm saying. I don't think I'm being very clear. So take it, this is what you should look like after pinning, and now you're going to take it and sew around. I sewed mine close to the edge as best I could. Okay, so our sewing clip caddy is now complete, and now you can attach your removable handle, and you can place all your bits and bobs inside, and there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and will subscribe, like, and share with sewing buddies. Thanks for watching.